Yes.
And we're back,
Yes.
and we're talking about cameras here. Yes, and and we have them, and thank good two of them. And we have two of them, and there's a little red light on them, so that's what designates.
Yes.
Look at that count. But we don't. Renee and I don't pay any attention to that. So when anybody asks us, we just say, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
But this is Kim Wills, and
Yes.
Kim works here at Cleveland State.
Yes.
And I appreciate her coming in today because she is one of the people that is going to be responsible for having you peaceful about your finances.
That's the plan.
Peace.
Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. Just tell us about it.
This is the third time that we've offered Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University at Broad Street United Methodist Church. We have a grant program at our church that comes out of some funds that somebody donated once upon a time, and the idea was that it would help for missions of the church and ministry to the community. So I wrote this grant with my parents, Kim and Donna Parker, because this is something that they believed in, that they've led previously, that they gifted to my brother and I once upon a time as part of we call it Mom's Gifts of Self-Improvement, where she helps us out by giving us something great that makes us go out and learn something
good
to make our lives better.
That's a neat idea.
That's a real neat
That's
idea.
a real neat idea.
So we took this grant proposal and we asked the church to please help us fund it to get it started in the church and to also be open to the whole community. The grant pays for child care because it's a 13-week-long program. Dave Ramsey is the teacher. We're just facilitators. We push play on the DVD player and then we lead discussion. It's pretty simple for what we have to do.
Yeah, because Dave is really not there.
Yes,
No.
he's really not there. We're not quite that lucky, but we put him on the video and he talks and does the teaching, and it's 13 weeks long, and the idea is that everybody needs financial peace. 7 out of 10 families in our society live paycheck to paycheck, which means if you miss a paycheck, you can't pay your bills. And some of you may understand what this is like. I lived like this for a really long time. And if you don't have financial peace, you really probably don't have a lot of peace in your house. It's a huge stressor. It's a huge stressor in a family and in a marriage and in any kind of relationship. And physically, that puts a lot of strain on the body too. That creates health problems. We want people to have financial peace. We've all been given lots of blessings. So who is this class for? Anybody who makes money, spends money, pays bills. Pretty much all of us. If you have an income, if you have a bill, this class is for you. The class is 13 weeks long, and when we first started this class, one of the things that the people at Dave Ramsey say is that on average, people will, let me find my card, I don't want to tell you wrong. On average, families will pay off $5,000 of debt during the 13 weeks and save $3,000 during the 13 weeks. Okay.
Wow.
I don't make gobs of money. I don't make tons of money. I have 3 children at home, and I looked at those numbers and I thought, there is no way. We've done this class twice. We had 12 families in the first class and 7 families in the second. In general, we do not ask anybody anything about their finances, but anonymously at the beginning and at the end, people can tell us how much they have in debt. At the end, they tell us how much they've paid off over the 13 weeks and how much they've saved, and we are spot on with these numbers.
Really?
We were, on
That is
average,
amazing.
across two classes, they really do fall right in line with this.
That is amazing.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it just really is phenomenal. And then people get done with the class, and they just say, wow, this class, it's not rocket science. It really is not. It's a lot of the things your mother told you, your grandmother probably told you, your grandparents probably did it. There was a time in our society where we did not spend on credit cards and we did not get loans, and if we couldn't afford to buy it, we didn't.
That's right.
All right, so now we've changed a little bit, and people think if you have debt, that's normal. Having debt is not normal. That makes us a slave to those things. And you don't want to go to work and feel like I have to be here because of X, Y, and Z I have to pay for. You want to go to work because you enjoy your job, and at the end of the day you want to be done with it, and you want to go home and enjoy your family. So as you learn by these teachings of Dave Ramsey how to budget, how to save, how to prepare for the future, you start gaining more peace over your finances, and in general that translates to your whole life. And people who've taken this class just continue to say months after they're done how much better in general they feel about these things because they've had this opportunity.
I think that's wonderful.
I do too.
Now, this is at Broad Street, and I'm a member at Broad Street, but you don't have to be a member at Broad Street.
No, you don't have to be a member at Broad Street. This is open to the entire community. It's actually listed on Dave Ramsey's website. At daveramsey.com, you can just type in your zip code and you can see classes in your area. So we're offering 2 classes starting in January. We're actually doing preview classes first. So I'll start a preview class on Sunday morning at 8:30 in the morning. That's this Sunday on the 15th. We're also going to offer it on Wednesday nights at 6:30, and that preview will be January the 18th. So we'll start with previews. The preview is free. Come to the preview if you think you're interested. Bring a friend if you think it might help them. Come to the preview, watch the video, see what it's all about. We'll give you all the details about it. 2 weeks later, we'll start the class. So previews first, then we'll start the class. The Sunday morning program's great. You come at 8:30, you're done at 10:30. You can go to your home church. You can come to our church. We'll have you. We'll love you.
Yeah, we will.
Then you're done for the day. By noon, you're done for the day. Wednesday night's great. If you have kids, we have a great Wednesday night program. We have supper first, so you can come and have supper and fellowship, and then the kids can go off and do the children activities too. So both classes have childcare, and the childcare is free because we feel like if you're going to commit to 13 weeks of this program, you don't want to have to pay for 2 to 3 hours of childcare to do it. So the church will take care of that too.
Absolutely. Now the cost for this.
The cost is associated.
Right.
There's a cost solely for the books and materials, and it's $100 is what that costs. What we have done with our grant is also write in a scholarship. We do not want anybody to feel like they cannot do this class because of $100. So we've written into that for scholarships. How do you get a scholarship? You need to speak to one of the facilitators, myself or my parents, and let us know that is something that you need to do. We also have done some payment plans with people before, just because the very last thing that should prohibit you from getting financial peace is this month's finances. So we don't want that to stand in your way. Don't feel like that's going to stand in your way at all. It's a really big, exciting program, and a lot of the people who've been part of it are really happy to talk to people about it and how it's helped them. And we've even had one family come to us and say, guess what, we're debt free. And that,
wow, that's great.
That's such an amazing thing for them to be able to
Mortgage
say.
too?
Yes.
Wow.
They were well on their way before,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Because we've had all kinds of families. Yeah. We've had a couple who were just newly married, and everybody older was like, wow, how great for you that you did this very first thing.
Yeah.
So they hadn't been married very long. We had a couple, the last class, who was engaged, and so they haven't even combined their finances yet, but they're learning how to do that. Because it really helps couples talk about it a whole lot more.
And so many people, I mean, I think that's one of the last bugaboos. I know I was raised, you just don't talk about money.
Right, right. And the man always handles paying the bills and yada yada.
I was watching a TV show. I can do that because I'm retired. The other morning.
She is.
All day.
Yes. And I forget which one it was, but they had this couple on, and they had bought a house even in this economy and everything, and they had children, but they both worked and they both paid their own expenses. Neither one of them, they were married, neither one of them knew what the other one made.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, they had done, really well.
So they paid their own bills. I mean,
paid
everybody
their own bills, and they had bought this house together. And I mean, how do you apply for a loan and not know how much your spouse makes?
Absolutely.
But yeah, it
Absolutely.
was amazing.
Well,
So,
there's one of the really
They
interesting
need this
things.
course.
Well, they might be just fine.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is we have these opportunities to kind of share. There's discussion times, and people, if they feel comfortable, are welcome to talk about things, because there's some things that may work for somebody that none of us ever considered.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we just say, oh, this week I tried this, and it really worked out really well. Or this month in my budget I did this. We don't talk, like I said, because this is important, we don't talk about numbers on your budget. As we get into the program, we do have a lesson on budgeting, and we give out budget worksheets, and Dave Ramsey goes over, this is how you do your budget, this is approximately percentage-wise of your income what you should be spending. We don't talk numbers. We just talk about, maybe somebody will come back and say, well, this month went really great, but we just didn't leave quite enough room for the fun things we like to do. And the rest of us will be like, oh yeah, hobbies. We didn't leave room for that either. So those are the kinds of things that we discuss in our class. So it's not full disclosure,
right.
Which some people have mentioned.
And for those of you that don't know, Dave Ramsey is a international person that does this. I mean, we just not jerk somebody up from Meigs County to teach this class.
He has a regular article in the Banner.
He
you
does.
Should be reading
in the Banner. And
yes.
then I think he has a TV show on something,
think a
CNN,
new
Fox,
one.
something. He's on there. He's on there for 30 minutes or so.
And he has a syndicated radio show also.
Yes, he does. And so
So
this
he
is,
knows his stuff.
Well, and he knows his stuff the hard way. He was in real estate when he was really young, and he made gobs and gobs of money, but he was doing a lot with loans and things like that, and then they lost everything. And so he and his wife together struggled through, how do we rebuild ourselves financially? And so this is the lessons that they learned the hard way, and he's just sharing with us to help us
so
not
that
have
we
to
don't
down
have to go
path.
through that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, to keep us
So
going.
if they're interested, is there a number they can call to talk to someone about this? Or, okay, what is it?
Yes, if you are interested, you can call the church at Broad Street United Methodist Church, which is 476-5586. Or if you just want to get online, you can go to www.daveramsey.com, and like I said, search by the zip code, because if Sunday morning and Wednesday night don't work for you, I know for a fact there's one other church here in town that's starting in January. There might be some others that are starting soon, and so you'll be able to see all those listed on the website, and you just put in your email address and it comes to one of us, and then we email you back and let you know, or just come. Just come on this Sunday morning at 8:30, on Wednesday night the 18th at 6:30. Just show up. We'll have signs and people to direct you where you need to be. We'll have a good time, and you can see if it's something for you.
And I think this is great.
Yeah,
and
I do too.
there's, I mean, as long as you're dealing in finances,
And
this
aren't
class
we
is
all?
open to
Right,
you.
right,
I mean,
absolutely.
you don't have to be a certain age group to do this.
And we don't sell anything. He doesn't talk about specific products. We just talk about how do we get everything on track, and everybody can benefit from that no matter where you are. Retirees have taken this class with us, close to retirees. I'm the token single mom every time we do the class, so I have to talk about that.
But that's okay. Now, single moms
Yeah, single
need this
moms
class.
need
I mean, this is,
Absolutely.
Yes,
this is a great class
absolutely.
for them. So, Kim, thank you so much for being on with us today. We really do
Well,
appreciate
thank you.
this. And those of you out there that have any questions, you can just give Broad Street a call or go online, like she said, www.daveramsey.com.
that easy.
And check this out. Go by zip code and see. We know Broad Street's having 2 classes.
Yeah.
We know someone else in Cleveland is having a class. There may be 1 or 2 right around close by that's a better fit for your time and your day of the week. So, Kim, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I hope you have a great day today.
Well, thank you.
I hope everything at Cleveland State just runs real smoothly today.
First day of class should be great.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
Be lots
And
of
folks,
students
we're
going.
going to take a little break here, and we're going to come back and talk to you about wildlife. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television, Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
How would you like to look and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Anti-Aging, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. He is a licensed physician with the Board of Anti-Aging Medicine, offering affordable Botox injections. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. In addition to Botox therapy, rejuvenate and smooth wrinkled skin. The micro-laser peel treats skin conditions associated with aging and active lifestyles. If you're looking for safe and affordable anti-aging treatment, call the Ford Center for Anti-Aging at 423-614-0535, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
We're back, and folks, we have a really special guest with us today, and I'm so thrilled. He has come from Middle Tennessee, but not just for me, not just for Brene, not just for you, actually. He has an assignment here, but this is Dan Hicks with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, TWRA.
Yes.
And talking with Dan, I just found out who he really is. When I called and talked to him, I didn't know that. But his dad, Dan Hicks, was editor for years of the Monroe County Advocate.
Well, it was a Democrat.
And
Monroe then it was the Tri-County Observer, and he sold it to the folks that have the Advocate
now.
when he retired.
Anyway, his dad was a buddy of mine in Monroe County when I was choir director there, and I'd never met Dan before, and Dan and I talked on the phone. So, first of all, you came today from, well, actually, you came in yesterday. Came from
the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge in the Birchwood community area in Meigs County.
And he lives in Crossville.
Correct, in Cumberland County.
So what he's here to talk to us about today is the Sandhill Crane Festival.
Right, this will be the 21st.
Wow.
21st time we've had it.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Absolutely. And
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, and it's gotten bigger every year. And a few years back, we had the hooping cranes that came down behind the ultralights, and that excited all the birding community in the nation pretty much. And we had well over 5,000 people that year that came through from Friday to Sunday through the area. So we're expecting this year, with the publicity that's been going out concerning the Asian hooded crane, that we may have another banner year as far as attendance is concerned.
Now tell us how that little Asian hooded crane got over here.
Well, it came in on a flying saucer. You know, we really don't know, and typically if a bird like that is in captivity, the flying wings would be cut off, so it can't escape, and it would be banded. There would be a band around its ankle there, but in this case, there's no indication that this was a captive, raised, or bred bird.
So he's a free flyer.
Yeah, and there's a committee still considering whether this is a wild bird or not. Typically, they are migrating between Russia and an island in Japan. So if you wanted to, birders have a bucket list of, they want to see these birds and mark it off the list, and you would have to get in a plane and fly to Japan, basically when they migrated to that island, to get a chance to see it. So, last weekend they recorded around 2,000 people that came to the refuge to see this bird. They had folks had flown from California, Texas, New York City, all the way down here, and rent a car in Chattanooga and drive out there to see this bird. And I talked to a lady yesterday on the phone that was coming from the Texas-Arkansas border of her state all the way here just to get a chance to see that bird. And then another opportunity for photographers is there, if you roll a dice, that you could get a photograph of a sandhill crane, a hooping crane, and this Asian crane in the same picture.
Wow.
Which that would really be something to accomplish. So
it would. It really would.
The birding community is really excited, and we're excited about it because it shows that we have a real wildlife success story, because these birds were on the brink of extinction at one time, and with help from all the 13 states in the flyway, these birds nest around the Great Lakes, and around October they leave their nesting area and start gathering up at the Jasper-Pulaski Wildlife Refuge. That's a national refuge in Indiana, and that refuge grows corn like we do. Cranes like to eat grain, and they stay there until the weather pushes them down, and then they usually will come here in Tennessee. They do come here in Tennessee to the Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge,
where we've also got the grain.
We got the grain, and they like it because the Hiwassee Island provides the mud flats that they sleep in the water standing up, and I've seen them out there in 10-degree weather, standing in that
Golly.
water, but I guess their little legs don't feel the cold.
Isn't that something?
But they
Whoa.
stand in the water because they can tell if a predator is approaching by the sound of the water. And a lot of times they sleep standing on one foot in the water, or they'll have their head tucked under the wing while they're out there. But they'll stand around the mud flats until in the morning. They have a routine like us. They wake up in the morning, they're hungry, and they'll fly over to the refuge and look for food. And about midday, they disperse out to private areas, looking for more adventure, I guess. And then in the afternoon, they'll gather back at the refuge and hang out in those fields, and then go back to the mud flats to go to bed. So,
see, this is so fascinating because I've mentioned this to the people before. We live on the water. We live on Candies Creek, and I always know when it's time for the festival because the sandhills come in to the sandbar right out in front of my house, and I'll say, "Oh, Flavis, it's time for the festival. The sandhills are coming in." So you say they're up north and they gather at one location.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and
see,
they fly in large numbers. They catch the thermal. They get really high up and catch those thermals, and you can hear them. They can. It seems like they're a mile away up in the sky, and you can still hear them.
You can hear them. You can't see them sometimes, but they're and it's a sound. It was real funny the other morning. I woke up and I thought that a neighbor's dog was on my deck choking on something. I heard this, and then I realized it's the sandhills because they have a really distinct. You could tell them from geese and ducks.
Yeah.
That's not the sound, and they're very distinct sound. But oftentimes you go look and you can't see them, but you can hear them. Yeah. Now I was out at the shop the other day, out on the patio, and this guy comes up and he says, "Where are those geese? I hear those geese." And so I got to say, those aren't geese, those are sandhills, and you'll see them in just a minute. About that time they came flying over. They're big.
They're big birds. They stand about 2 feet tall. They have wing spreads over 5 feet, some of them 6 feet wide. They average around 12 pounds, so they're not a heavy bird.
No.
And they probe the ground with their bills. They will eat some aquatic life in the water, but mostly they like to be on land looking for grubs and especially grain. They love to eat grain. And these birds, like New Year's Eve, I was in Crossville, and they fly over my house every year.
You're in the flight path.
And we hadn't seen as many birds at the refuge. And my kids had let the cat out about 12:30. I stayed up till 12:01 and then went to bed.
Good for you, Diane. I'm proud of you.
It's getting harder every year.
I know it is.
And my cat was on my screen over the bed there, and I could see his little marks in my screen in my mind. So I got up and said, "You're coming in, cat." And I let him in, and I heard hundreds of sandhills at 3:30 in the morning flying over my house. Mm-hmm. And I went in and turned on the Weather Channel, and they had a big V going down right into Indiana of snow and ice.
Yeah.
And see that? So the weather dictates what these birds do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't just look at their calendar and say, "We're going now." They have to see what the weather's going to be.
Exactly. So that cold front there pushed them down, and a lot more arrived here in this area. And another thing we've seen over the years is this kind of weather we're experiencing right now with the rain coming from the west and the south. Mm-hmm. It'll keep them from flying further south. So a lot of the birds that we have here will probably stay. And we feel like most of the birds that are north of us are here now. So most all the birds that have migrated are here. And this time of year, that's what we have. Now, if we had this maybe 2 or 3 weeks after the date we're having this weekend, we would be catching birds that are on their way back up. So it's really amazing to tell. And Dr. David Aborn at UT Chattanooga and some other folks have been putting radio transmitting collars, on radio transmitters, not collars, but on the birds to get more information on what these birds are actually doing and when they leave and when they go back and what groups are where. And that process will continue so we can gather more information.
That's fascinating.
On the species.
It really is.
But let's talk about let me tell you a few things about the festival while we got a few minutes.
That's what I want to do.
Yes.
We want to talk about the festival because I want these people out there that have never seen a sandhill or a whooping crane or this Asian
hooded crane
to know where to go and when to go there.
Well, I guess in a list of importance, the first thing is this year we're not allowing any parking at the refuge.
Okay.
We've arranged for folks hopefully we'll go to Birchwood School first. It's a 3-venue event. We got Birchwood School, we've got the Howitzer Refuge, and we've got the Cherokee Memorial.
Right.
And we'll have shuttle buses running from the school out to those outlying venues. And the buses are being donated by Blue Moon Cruises
How neat.
down the road.
Okay.
And
They're
they
great
use
folks.
these
They
buses to take people on rafting trips. If you've ever taken a rafting trip,
Yes.
you know what those buses
They're real
look like.
buses. Yes.
And so we're expecting a big crowd this year, probably more than we have in past years, just simply because of the Hooded Crane publicity that's
Right.
been all across the nation. It even went, on PBS radio, and it's really gotten a lot of play. So
That's amazing.
we don't know what to expect as far as the crowd, but
And it's just one, you just have one hooded crane.
one hooded crane.
One, okay?
When
Right.
did you discover it?
Actually, it was on December 13th.
Uh-huh.
There was a lady here that works for the International Crane Foundation in Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And she was here and noticed it. And I think a lot of other folks were standing around and really didn't realize what it was.
Knew it
but
was
she-
something different, just didn't know what.
So as far as we know, she's the first one to see it and report it. And since that time, I mean, it's just been an amazing
Isn't that
situation.
something?
But now back to the
Right, I'm so sorry, yes, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We digress.
We digress often here.
Yes,
Is
we
there a fee for doing this?
This event is free.
Okay,
Of course,
great.
there'll be donation boxes around, and the money will eventually go to habitat improvement and taking care of the cranes and things at the Howitzer Refuge. And of course, with state budgets being cut on a
Yes,
regular basis, that may become more of an issue down the road. But this is the first attempt for us to really solicit a few donations out there.
So
But it's-
please be generous.
Yes, do.
but it's free to folks, and it's really an educational experience. The Native American heritage is really strong out there.
It is.
Native Americans lived on the Howitzer Island for thousands of years, probably. There's one part of the island where mussel shells are eroding out of the side of the bank. That's been going on for 10 years, and these mussel shells are still eroding out of the bank and falling into the water. So you think how many hundreds of years it took for those
Wow.
Native Americans to dive down in the Howitzer River, get the mussels off the bottom of, and bring it up, eat, and toss those shells in one spot on the end
Isn't
of that
that
island.
something?
So,
In 10 years,
but
they're, wow.
so, it's really not only just a nature experience. We've got the bald eagles out there. We've got
Yes.
several nesting pairs that live out there that fly through on a regular basis. A few years back, we released golden eagles that we went out to
we've seen a golden.
Wyoming and brought them back and released them out there. And then there's all the native species. I mean, we've had some real shows in the past. And yesterday we had about 100 wild turkeys that walked out in front of the viewing area.
Good, that
and
means they
put on
weren't
a
in
little
my
show.
yard.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good, very good.
The white-tailed deer, and one year we had a family of raccoons that decided to walk across in front of everybody.
I think
and
that's wonderful.
We just, we've had white pelicans show up.
Yes, we've
snow
seen
geese,
white pelicans.
unusual birds of prey like sharp-shinned hawks, things that aren't normally seen in this area. Somehow, if they get blown off course, they find the Howitzer Wildlife Refuge,
See,
and
that's
it offers
wonderful.
what they have.
Absolutely wonderful.
But there's food at the school.
Right.
And the cafeteria folks, or the lady that I guess she cooked there for 20 or more years, Linda Wright, she is an excellent cook and dear to my heart. I love to eat her food, but she'll be putting on breakfast and lunch until the food runs out in the afternoon on Saturday.
Sounds great.
And then on both days, the American Cancer Society will have a trailer out there selling hot chocolate and cold drinks and coffee and hot dogs.
Good.
For them.
Okay.
So.
We're going to take a break, but Dan's not going away. Dan will be right back with us, folks, and he's going to talk some more about this because this is very, very exciting, and it's what's happening right in our back door. So we're going to take a little commercial break because they're the ones that pay for this, and we'll be right back, so don't go away.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television, Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
How would you like to look and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Anti-Aging, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. He is a licensed physician with the Board of Anti-Aging Medicine, offering affordable Botox injections. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. In addition to Botox therapy, rejuvenate and smooth wrinkled skin. The micro-laser peel treats skin conditions associated with aging and active lifestyles. If you're looking for safe and affordable anti-aging treatment, call the Ford Center for Anti-Aging at 423-614-0535, located at 2020 Key Street Northwest.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge Chrysler and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
And we are back with Dan Hicks from TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Yes.
And we've had the best little conversation
We
during the
have.
commercial, and I'm so sorry that you all missed that. But we're still talking about the
Yes.
sandhill cranes, and I also wanted to talk about a little bit about what TWRA does. Those of us that live on the water, they're our friends. And don't you all forget it. TWRA is my friend because I'm over there. But this isn't the only thing you all do, like
Oh, no.
sandhill cranes.
Well, I'll give a quick little rundown.
Yes.
I guess in the history of Tennessee, the last elk was recorded to be killed in Tennessee in 1865.
Wow.
And the significance of that is if you look back and study the Civil War, you know that the food sources, the agricultural process were interrupted by the war. And
big
the
time.
folks that came through this area, the soldiers and people that no longer had their cattle available or whatever livestock they used for food, they reverted to wildlife. And a lot of white-tailed deer, turkey, and other species really took a lick then. And then, of
I
course,
hadn't
the
thought
elk.
about that, but I can
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
The elk were extirpated from the state. The actual species of elk that lived in this area is extinct. The eastern elk is now the extinct species. And we reintroduced elk to Tennessee in 2000, and we actually went to Canada and got elk from a location up there called Elk Island. And actually they were concerned in the western states that the same thing would happen out there. And with the Canadian government, a bunch of, I guess, conservationists gathered up elk from the United States and the ones that they found in Canada, and they put them at this place called Elk Island. It's an enclosure up there. And it's the most disease-free herd of elk in the world
Wow.
because they've been testing them since 1996. They developed this in 1996. So we brought our elk back down here, and those elk are doing really good. But part of what Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency does, as part of the mandate, is to bring back extirpated species that were native here and no longer are here. So in that, we brought bald eagles back, we brought golden eagles back to Tennessee, and of course, Tennessee has played a major role in the success of the sandhill cranes and played a role
Right.
in the whooping crane reintroduction because they used the Hiwassee as one of their stopping points with the ultralight planes. But there's other number of other species and fish and other things that we've worked to bring back. But typically after that, you used to have feed grabbers when the first people were concerned about wildlife species, and those guys got paid on how many tickets they wrote. So You know, it was kind of a questionable profession to be a fee grabbing type game warden.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1949, they saw a real reason to create an agency to do something, and they created the Tennessee Game and Fish Commission.
Right.
And that was in place. They call those original guys the 49ers, and there's not many of those left that were hired in 1949. But in 1974 and 75, the agency was reorganized, and the name changed to reflect that we not only took care of those species that we hunted or the fish we fished for, but to take care of all wildlife. So that is when we became Wildlife Resources Agency. And in that, we enforce hunting, fishing, and boating laws in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our main thing. In the summertime, we'll be out there checking boaters and make sure they have their safety equipment on board,
Yes, we always do that.
that their boat's registered.
That's right. That's right. You have
And
that little registration
In
number
the
on the side
meantime,
of
we
the boat.
might see if they're fishing, if they have their fishing
Uh-huh.
license, and how many fish of each species they have in their live well, because there are limits and size limits and creel limits. So, and then in addition to that, we have biologists. A lot of people will see the guys driving the green trucks
Right.
and wearing a gun, but we have a number of individuals that are biologists that went to school to just manage the wildlife species, not necessarily involved in the law enforcement aspect of things. And our men have to, and women, we have women wildlife officers.
Yes, you do.
It is a requirement that they have a bachelor's degree in either wildlife or fisheries management. And in Tennessee, those degrees are offered at the University of Tennessee, at Tennessee Tech, and at UT Martin. And those guys have to compete. They have to take a test after they graduate, and we interview the top 5 from the list each time that there's a position opening. And you know, we have quite a few of those coming up, because if you look back at 1975, when a lot of guys were hired, they're retiring.
for retirement.
Yeah. So we're going to see a lot of new blood in the next 5 years coming into the agency. But
That's exciting.
it's
is,
really
yeah.
amazing to see the interest that young folks have in this type of work, and the opportunity to get paid to work outside.
Right. And to do something you really, really enjoy.
Right.
Now, you all also teach boating safety?
Yes, there was a
Because-
new boating safety law in Tennessee, and it's kind of like the hunter ed course.
Right.
But I mean, when the kids are 16, you get them in there. It's required if they operate a boat, they have to have this. And like hunter ed now, they're the people that are my age, that just below me that have hunter ed, and eventually boating will be the same way. That as time goes through, everybody on the water will have had that boater education
Right.
class,
Yeah.
which. We can tell that hunter education has made hunting a safe sport.
Right.
And we know that the boating education will help us reduce the accidents and injuries and fatalities in the state, and that's the goal of that program.
My husband and I are grandfathered in on that
Absolutely.
boating, but because we've been boating for years, but living on the water full time like we do, we see some crazy people in boats, and some people that don't seem to realize that you really shouldn't be drinking and driving your boat at high speeds and doing things like that. So this boater safety is great, and I think it's like you said, 16, if they're going to be operating. And now, is that also the jet skis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's a vessel. just
Okay,
like the
that's a
other one.
vessel. So, folks, to those of you that did not know that, if you're going to be out there on your jet ski and you're 16 or older, you have to have had boater safety.
It's amazing to me when I go out and ride with officers in boating season and help them work. The number of people that get out there like around the holidays, and they've just bought a boat
Right.
from somebody down the street, or they got it on the internet, and they haven't even considered what the laws are. But once you go on the water, that boat has to be registered to the person that now owns it, and the last person's registration doesn't count anymore.
No.
And it's amazing that they don't know they have to have a fire extinguisher or a life jacket for everybody on board,
That's
and
right.
a throwable cushion, and a number of things that are required by law. And so that's one thing I'd like to pass on people who are considering getting a boat. Spend some time. You can go to our website, tnwildlife.org, under boating, and if you want to learn about fishing or hunting, there's a lot of information at that website, tnwildlife.org. Now, for the Crane Festival, you can go at tncranefestival.com. tvtm.org to check out all the stuff about the cranes. And of course, there's a link for that on our main website.
Okay. tncranefestival.org. Okay.
Correct.
So check that out, folks, because Jennifer just gave us a signal that we're getting close to being out of time.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful, Dan. This has been so informative, and I don't know that everybody gets as excited about the sandhills as I do, but living on the water and being in the fly path, and they come over, and several years ago we had the whooping cranes.
Right.
And there was an article in the paper the other day, and that doesn't pertain to us, folks. It was talking about there's only 300 left in the state of Texas, and something about they're becoming extinct. And
Right.
that,
In other words, they have that flyway over there where they have the wild birds, and that's the reason why they created this second flyway, because they were afraid of a natural disaster such as a tornado, or if they get down on the coast, it could be when migrating, it could be a hurricane. It could wipe out the whole bunch.
Right.
So when they started this program to bring these cranes back, that was one of the main reasons they started the ultralight.
Right.
Reintroduction.
So those you saw in the paper in Texas are not ours. Ours are still coming in. And did you say we had 8 or 8 pairs?
We have 8.
8
birds right now. And U.S. Fish and Wildlife, they have some folks out here that are tracking them. And so we have 8 that they have seen out there right now. And they may have found more today since I left out there. But those birds are amazing that worked to me, that they were imprinted on an ultralight plane with a man wearing a white costume, and they were playing the sound the adult birds make on a PA system, and they actually imprinted on this. And when we now have wild birds that were raised in captivity up in, around the Great Lakes, in the Cedars where they bring them out from, and that's a national refuge in Wisconsin. And they're flying back and forth with the sandhill cranes each year.
And that's wonderful. And they come right by my house, folks. Dan, thank you so much. This has been so informative.
Fascinating.
And Dan will be over there the 14th and 15th at Birchwood. So, and folks, this is our tax dollar at work, TWRA, right?
Don't mind paying taxes.
And I don't mind. I do not mind paying for this, because this is just wonderful. And Dan, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And it's
Thank
great
you,
to meet you and to find out who you are.
Well, I've enjoyed it. It went by really quick.
It did. It really did. So, folks, thank you all for being with us today. And if you have any questions, you saw this. There's 2 websites you could go to and find out about it. And I hope that you all will go over to Birchwood. And Birchwood's very easy to find. Highway 60. Just take Highway 60, go across the bridge, and we got to go. But but in Birchwood, it's in Meigs County. So Jennifer from the mountain said we got to go.